All right, I think we're ready to start. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone, wherever you guys are. This is the last town hall before the wildly anticipated NEARCON 2023, where I hope to see every one of you live in person in Lisbon. We have a jam-packed agenda today where you'll hear first from Jack with an introduction. We'll hear from David on KPIs. You'll hear from me regarding some ecosystem highlights, and then we'll be hearing from the amazing teams at ShardDoc, Smart Token Labs, and Sweat. And we'll round this out by hearing everything you need to know about the upcoming NEARCON in Lisbon by the events team. So on to you, Jack.
Thanks a lot, Clemens. Hi, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Jack. I head up marketing at the NEAR Foundation. Now, first of all, I don't know about you all, but it certainly has felt like the good old days this week in crypto. Lots of love across the ecosystem, which is awesome. So long may that continue. Now, before I dive into the agenda, or into the open web rather, I do have a quick announcement to make, which Clemens has kindly teed up. In 2 weeks' time, we have our flagship event happening in Lisbon from the 7th to the 10th of November. That is NEARCON. As we know, last year was epic. It was coined the crypto event of the year by many. And as we've been saying over the last few months, this year is going to be even bigger and it's going to be even more iconic. We've got 4 whole days of fun. You get to meet everybody across the NEAR community and beyond. We've got over 150 top speakers, 3 awesome venues that all have roofs that won't collapse. We know, we've stress tested them. We've got a whole host of side events, including an awesome opening party and closing party. They're always very notable, lots of stories. And then obviously, we have absolute 1 metric ton of alpha to drop at NEARCON. So if you're not there, you're not going to know. Tickets, only $99. We want it to be open and accessible for everyone. And what I can say is they are selling like hotcakes. They're selling fast. And as always, in the last week, we've seen a huge spike in ticket sales as we get close to the event. So make sure you get yours now before they sell out. And don't forget, if you're a hacker, you get in for free. And that's it, for free, right? And there's over $100,000 in prizes. So if you're a hacker, please go to nearcon.org now and put your application in. And if you're not, go to nearcon.org and buy your ticket. Right, so let's move on to the agenda. So obviously at NEAR, we care a lot about the open web. That's why we're here. That's our purpose. And at the foundation, our mission is to really support the ecosystem in growing to 1 billion users. And we do that by supporting in increasing the awareness, accessibility, and adoption of an open web through the sustainable growth of an autonomous NEAR ecosystem. Many people ask, well, what is an open web, Jack? And I always say, well, good question. An open web, it's the web without influence of corporations or gatekeepers, any centralized body, where everyone has an equal chance to create, participate, and be fairly rewarded for their data, ideas, and effort. So it really is a web that isn't closed, that isn't unfair. It's a web where people are put at the heart of everything. And that is what drives us all forward. And so at NEAR, we really want to make the NEAR ecosystem the best place for founders in particular to build the open web. And I really love like opening the town hall with that. It really reminds us all why we're here and the greater purpose as to what we're trying to do. And so with that, I think I'm handing over to DW for some metrics.
Awesome, Jack. Thank you so much. All right, so we'll have a few slides here, and all of this is also now available at NEAR Atlas, so you can check it out on your own, nearatlas.com. And we're definitely looking for feedback and continuing to update this more and more to better represent what's happening in the ecosystem. So the homepage here, it's showing monthly active accounts, just over 3 million, and total accounts as of today at 31 million. In terms of active accounts, you can see the trend here, which is looking nice over the past week or so. So we're back above 3 million monthly active accounts. And then taking a deeper look, you can see new accounts, which would be someone's first time ever transacting on the protocol versus returning active accounts. And one thing that we're calling out here is that if you look to see the number of new accounts historically versus where we are today with new accounts, you see that we're actually growing both new accounts. So there's around 700,000 new monthly accounts over the past several weeks versus before the Cosmos bump was closer to like 400,000 new monthly active accounts. And so it's nice to see that even the new growth is continuing to grow. And then one new view here is looking at the depth of use of these accounts. So this view is breaking out our monthly active accounts by how many transactions they actually perform on chain. And the four categories are just 1 transaction, 2 transactions, 3 to 5 transactions, or greater than 5 transactions. And what's super exciting with the launch of Kai-Ching about a month and a half ago is that not only are we increasing the number of active accounts in the ecosystem, but those accounts are also transacting more and more. So over roughly half of all of the 3 million active accounts happening, active accounts happening today, more than half of them are engaging with 5 or more transactions. So we're seeing both an increase in active usage, but also an increase in transactions through the blockchain. Cool. And Clemens, back over to you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much. I think we have some very exciting highlights that we would like to present to you. First, starting off with El Cafe Cartel. From launching multiple NFT collections with an active community around them to Bodega Marketplace, the first trades-based marketplace for swapping NFT trades, the El Cafe Cartel team has been actively building on Near for quite a while now, and they don't seem to be slowing down either. As a matter of fact, just a month ago or 2 months ago now, near APAC, we actually had a member from the Cafe Cartel that was literally standing behind a coffee booth for more than 8 hours, serving 1,300 coffees and signing up an equal amount of people to Near. And they have just recently launched their first on-chain coffee marketplace, where you can now buy coffee using Near. And to celebrate this launch, they're giving away 1 bag of their ultra special NEARCON limited edition espresso blend. Details in that tweet linked up. Next up, we have the DApp announcement. So if you guys been following DeFi, you guys have been reading the news. The biggest wave that's been made within DeFi is that Uniswap Labs has decided to introduce a 15 basis point fee to their front end. And I think this is exactly an area where, you know, the boss can shine, and where it's really exciting to see projects like DApp present the value that the boss can bring. DApp has launched a front-end interface for the Uniswap protocol that is permissionlessly open source, launched and stored on the Near blockchain operating system. So it's all stored on chain for users to now effectively bypass that fee and interact with the Uniswap protocol just as they did before. Next up, we have the Pagoda product roadmap 2023. So Pagoda has made its product roadmap public last week via GitHub. Right now, this roadmap covers the rest of 2023, and the team of Pagoda have committed to quarterly updates of their technical roadmap, as well as ensuring that everything that can be shared publicly is shared with the entirety of the open web community. What we have starting tomorrow is Halloween. It is an exciting event that's been put together by Liberty DAO in New York City in collaboration with the Near New York City community, steered by the Banyan Collective. And they've organized a 3-day hackathon where you can win over $10,000 in prizes. The action starts tomorrow, and I'm really looking forward to seeing exciting products and services coming out of this initiative. Next, we have the Near DApp library launch. So yesterday, we saw the exciting launch of the Near DApp library, your new playground for exploring a diverse range of experiences through hundreds of applications powered by Near. With over 200 applications built on Boss, with clear categorical breakdown, the app library is now live and ready for you to dive in at near.org/applications. Next up, we will be hearing from a familiar face in the ecosystem, ShardDog.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Joe, are you here too?
I'm here too.
Nice. Let's jump in.
All right. So I'm Joe. I'm one half. I'm the co-founder of ShardDog, and
I'm Jared. I'm the other half of ShardDog. All right. And today we're going to do just 3 points updates that we're really excited about. One is going to be the MEM collab, which Joe will talk about. 2 is our self-service beta, which is pretty cool. And then 3 is the Engage-A-Thon at NEARCON. So Joe, if you want to jump in and we can go to the next slide.
yeah, we're excited to announce that we're partnering with MEM, which is MemTech, which they are kind of been around the ecosystem a little bit here and there. But what we're using them for is something that we think is really cool and unique here is encrypted content gating. What that means is that when you claim a ShardDog link and you got that NFT, behind that NFT, we actually are able to have additional content that is only unlocked by the NFT. So you can't just go on chain and look and see what the content is. You actually can only decrypt it with the NFT. And MEM is making this all happen for us. We are going to start releasing that this quarter here, where we'll be able to actually do this with different content creators and brands.
And the chat of the dev chat on that is amazing. I don't know if people are in that, but that is a Telegram chat that I don't understand, but it is awesome. So next slide.
The next thing we're introducing is self-service, and we're doing self-service a little bit different than typical, where not just anybody can come sign up, but once you are within the ShardDog ecosystem and you have your own link, you can actually go back and edit it yourself. And so you can continue to add in new NFTs and new links and new drops all the way through. The idea around this is that your link now becomes a channel. And so once you have that ShardDog channel, as you start to build your audience, you can see that progression over time of who's continuing to come back. We're doing this on purpose, where we're not just opening up fully because we're obviously trying to manage spam and issues like that. And so this is very controllable. We're starting with Nearweek and a few other partners to get started with this.
Yeah, and this is really cool because I just like to think of like centralized world, big bubble, we all get to go in and they control the bubble. This, you are your own channel, bunch of little bubbles flying around the world doing cool stuff. I prefer the decentralized way. So that's how I'm really excited about this. All right, let's jump to the next one. All right, Engage-A-Thon at NEARCON 2023. So these are some boards. Look, and there's a main board and there's going to be some side boards. What are these boards? What is Engage-A-Thon? Let's jump to the next slide. All right. It's an interactive event where attendees collect ShardDog NFTs and projects, artists, and people have ShardDogs. It's very simple, but should be really fun. It's low ask for people. And since it's a conference, we want to keep it as simple as possible. As someone who's thrown conferences and gone to a lot of conferences, we want simple, claim ShardDogs, collect ShardDogs. And we've got some boards and some side quests. We're going to do some like swag giveaways and just kind of get a bunch of people engaged. Right now, we've got over 50 people or 50 projects, artists, and people who have got ShardDog links that are going to be participating. We just got some really cool like cards and lanyards. And I'm talking like top level swag. I'm a swag snob, so this is like the best stuff. So QR codes, and we'll be connecting with people on that. And Joe, if you want to add a little bit to the.
Yeah, the nice thing is that you'll be able to track all this way through. So if you are a brand or content creator, artist, and you want to participate, if you have your own link, you'll be able to see everyone who claimed it, be able to actually, you'll be now in the ShardDog ecosystem to be able to reach out later on. And then we'll also have a big board of all the different ones being claimed in real time. And we'll be able to see which projects are getting the most people to claim across that board. And all this actually, the boards themselves will be hosted on the Boss.
And the last thing to think about, what's really cool with this whole like ShardDog Engage-A-Thon thing. So after the event, you've done your Engage-A-Thon, you've put time into having people collect your ShardDogs. The link is still good. It's yours. And as now we've got the self-service, in the future, you'll just be able to swap out that image to a video or something else and go on to your next engagement, always building that audience. Something sort of like a Web3 decentralized email list, but without an email. You know, we're talking, you start to see this week's updates, I think clearly show where we're kind of aiming. And so that's everything. And then the last slide here is actually a ShardDog QR code. So if you, copy paste that, claim it, and that's going to give you a proof of this presentation, because you can pretty much proof anything. So thank you all. Joe, any last words? Looking forward. Oh, last words. If you're a project, brand, or person who hasn't already reached out to us, please do. We're going to be reaching out to more people over the next week. And we even have a special board for socials. So that's for projects that can't make the event, but want to help in the socials, which I think will be a really cool test to keep the kind of like social engagement up as well. So thank you all. That's Shard Dog.
Thank you.
Amazing stuff. I'm really excited to see and test this out in person 2 weeks from now. Next up, we have Smart Token Labs.
Hey. Can you guys hear me? See me? Great. So let's rock and roll. So I'll just do a quick intro on Smart Layer, Smart Token Labs, and kind of what we're talking about. So Smart Layer, we really power the next era of Web3 growth with tooling. So really focus on what we call token-centric architecture, where tokens become the center of an experience. And that really becomes the integration point of the modern web. So we can hop to the next slide. We can dive in a little bit deeper. Really, we're a set of tools for building Web3 growth programs to unlock the power of your ecosystem and drive rapid growth. So there's a whole suite of tooling under the hood that we've built. Next slide. And we've used that tooling, and really 1,200 different developers have used that tooling to work with lots of different projects. There's lots of amazing things we can do here, but I really want to highlight, next slide, just what we've been able to do with this tooling and kind of what this tooling looks like. So first off, there's 3 layers to Smart Layers growth tooling. There's the identity layer. The most important part here about the identity layer is that it enables anybody to engage Web 2 or Web 3. This is not account abstraction. We use an off-chain token, so it goes directly to email. It's stored inside of local storage on a browser. It can be read automatically by anybody else with a simple piece of JavaScript added to a site. So it's decentralized, it's off-chain, which enables a lot of brands to be able to start to participate because they're very weary about putting their entire customer database on chain, as well as then this can pass directly to an Apple or Google wallet. So it fully allows us to open the aperture just beyond Web3 natives while still providing a completely Web3 experience of decentralization and individual ownership of data. Next, there's the utility layer. And this inside of the utility layer really allows us to take any NFT and go super advanced. So there's 2 parts here. One is ERC 5169 that we created, which allows any token to essentially become executable and point and carry executable script beyond the smart contract. And then second is token script, which essentially enables any token to have a graphical user interface or a GUI. These 2 things combined allow any token to now become a dApp in and of itself, where you can open the token and interface directly through the token. You can have token-to-token messaging, where you can message one token to another token. So there's a lot of advanced utility inside of that. And then last is the experience layer. This is where we start to get into Quest tooling and dev tooling, as well as then open loyalty programs. When we combine all of these things together, we have the elements that we need to create really vast and rich ecosystems and growth tooling and growth methodologies. If we can hop to the next slide. And what we've been able to do with this with our own community is over the past 120 days, we were given the impossible brief. The impossible brief was we need 500,000 users in the next 120 days. We used a combination of these tools to do exactly that. We've been able to onboard over 2 million users. Those users, we've created a very special NFT, and we'll talk more about this later. There'll be things inside of this NFT that you've never seen ever happen with an NFT before. There's been over 500,000 of those minted since I created these slides. There's been another 20,000. So we're almost at 525,000 as of this moment. Increased our Discord up to 375 and upped our Twitter following to 350,000. The most important part here is it's not just that we got a one-time bump. It's the constant re-engagement. If we put on a Twitter space, we put 5,000 people in that space on a weekly basis. And so it's how we use these tools to keep the community engaged, not just a typical questing solution. Let's go to the next slide. Part of this also is when we talk about the ecosystem of creating an open loyalty or an omni-channel loyalty program, This allows anybody inside of an ecosystem to now read that pass and create rewards for those people. So we have new methods of creating value for our community members that are far beyond just simple points or airdrops. But now we can start to activate an entire ecosystem where anybody in the ecosystem can read the pass with a simple piece of JavaScript. Anybody can then start to offer rewards and treat your customers like their customers. And we now start to have a really rich ecosystem that plays around. We've done this for DevCon and for the Ethereum Foundation. What we saw was a 58% engagement rate with that open loyalty program. And if we can hop to the next slide. And the whole reason we're here today talking with you is because we are now taking this technology, and this will be powering the Perks marketplace for NEARCON 23. So everyone that receives a ticket for NEARCON will also have a link inside of an email. That link is a token. That token will be stored inside of your local storage. That will give you access into the Perks marketplace. And when you go to claim a reward, you will go directly to that provider site. You will then connect with a simple click, and then that will allow you to prove that you have a NEARCON ticket. That will then unlock the reward for you and allow you to claim the reward. So we will be powering the open loyalty program for NEARCON 23 using Smart Layers tooling. And that's kind of what we're excited about. So please make sure you go in there. It's about 30 different providers offering lots of different things up into $15,000 of developer credits. There's a lot of really awesome rewards that you can find in there. And all you have to have is a NEARCON ticket to access it. And then that should wrap us up. So last slide. And that's it. So that's Smart Layer and growth tooling for Web3 projects. And so make sure you guys go check out the Perks marketplace with NEARCON. Oh, and then hit us up if you want to use any of this tech for sure.
Amazing. Looking forward to seeing that going live. Next up, let's hear from the newest from the Sweat team, who have just recently launched over in the US and multiple other markets.
Hey everyone, thanks Clemens. Yeah, my name is Michael Brink. I'm one of the product leads at Sweat, and got a bit of a mixed bag of updates really. There's been a lot going on the last while, and I agree. I think Clemens said it at the start. It's a fun time to be going to NEARCON with a slight shift in the market. So good time to be alive. Let's start off with the most recent news, and that's that on October 16th, we took the daring task of launching a crypto product in the US. We've been holding out for about a year or so. And you can move to the next slide, please. It was actually the US as well as 8 other countries, but obviously the US market was the most notable. It's been a year building up to that. And part of the journey of launching in the US was actually establishing an unofficial DAO in Sweat Wallet. I think we had one of the largest votes in the history of any DAO proposal that's gone out, with over 360,000 votes on a one-person, one-vote mechanism that helped sort of forge the rule sets around our TGE event for launch in the US. So that was really exciting. That happened June through July, and then we launched in October. And if we go to the next slide, just to share a couple of stats around what that's meant for us, is from the day that we launched, we saw an immediate and growing bump of about 30% on our daily on-chain active users. So going from about 60 to about 80,000 users, and it grew to over 100K. So that's, and you can see on that graph, I don't know where the cutoff point is. It's actually a bit small, probably yesterday or the day before. But that's been fantastic to see. So we had, I think, just under 350,000 of our Sweat coin users opt into Sweat Wallet, specifically for the TGE event. And that's with giving 8 weeks window for opt-in. And that number is growing. So we currently have 25 million users in the US on Sweat coin, and only 1.6% of them are on Sweat Wallet. The other thing that happened is a consistent second position there on DApp Radar. That's with all chains included. And I think it's a sort of amazing feather in Near's cap to see that the top 2 dApps there are Kaching and Sweat. And that speaks volumes to the future of where the blockchain is going as well. So yeah, that's really encouraging, particularly going into NEARCON. For entrepreneurs and developers looking to find a scalable piece of tech to build services for the next billion people, right? So moving on from the US launch, I'll just share some 4 updates on new and upcoming features. The first one is trade. So some of you, I don't know who uses Sweat Wallet, but you may have seen that we've launched trade to a select group of users using Orderly Network. And we're about to roll that out next week to 95% of our user base. And we've seen some good results. We've been ABC testing, and it's finally ready to go. And that's quite a long-awaited feature, at least from our community. And that's going to bring a lot of, hopefully, from what we see currently, a lot of liquidity for a lot of the other tokens and stable coins and such on there. The next one is Sweat Hero. That's our DeFi game. Although it's not very DeFi just yet. It's more like a pseudo NFT for when you reach a certain level. But basically the work we've done since we were released closed beta is sort of, for those of you who are kind of into mobile games and have played games like Angry Birds, you know, that you have like these progressive stages, you have arenas, you have one-on-one battles. So we've been expanding that feature of Sweat Hero. Sweat Hero, for those of you who don't know, has anyone ever played that, what's it called, Ultimate Guitar, where you have to play on the tune with a guitar that's plugged in, and you have to sort of strum on the chords? It's kind of like that with steps. So there's 3 lanes, and you kind of have to meet the rhythm by tapping on the exact spot. So the difficult thing here was getting matchmaking across like over 19 different countries and time zones, and make sure that there's enough Sweat Hero player liquidity, if I can call it that, without having to match people with bots. Yeah, but we've gotten that to almost a certain match under 60 seconds, and so we can roll that out next week as well, which is fantastic. And then the third one is DeFi jars. So DeFi jars are, we call basically like a staking product, we call them growth jars. So you grow your sweat. And the way we launched this initially was pretty rudimentary. It was pretty much send your sweat to a smart contract. It gets locked up for the prescribed time with whatever you picked, say 12 months with a certain earnings rate. And then after a year, the funds and the principal and the interest, so to speak, gets released. And what we've done is, in the true sense of what DeFi ought to be, completely rebuilt that as a far more sophisticated smart contract, where the funds are entirely owned by the smart contract, and the users can incrementally accrue their earnings in real time and cash out their earnings as often as they like. We've integrated with Near's meta transactions relayer so that users can start covering gas fees in Sweat in our NEP 141 token. Once a jar unlocks, or in conventional language, the contract matures, the funds remain in the contract, and the user can opt to restake or to unstake their funds. And that has been one improvement on DeFi jars. The next thing that's coming is an Oracle control jar called the Premium jar, which is also quite exciting. And it uses someone's subscription status on our Sweat Coin app, where we use the App Store or Google Play as the Oracle to let us know when a user subscribes or unsubscribes. And we programmatically adjust the earnings rate of a jar based on their subscription status. So premium users get a premium earnings rate on their jar. But DeFi jars are live. And then the last one, I think the last two teams that spoke would quite enjoy this one from a retail perspective. We call it on-chain claiming. And basically, this is the move to decentralize everything we do in our mobile app. And the last thing outstanding is there are various ways of earning sweat. The most obvious is through physical activity. So based on our minting curve, your steps convert to sweat. Currently, that's just being checked several times a day. It gets converted and minted to the user's wallet. Now it's going to start accruing in a smart contract alongside sweat that's being earned from several different sources, like completing a quest or completing a learn and earn lesson. There's sweat that accrues obviously from your DeFi jars, and as I mentioned, from your steps from walking. And instead of just having these accrue, they will, instead of having these automatically transferred, they'll accrue in a single smart contract, and the user will be able to cash out all their earnings from many different sources, including random airdrops, by paying a single gas fee that potentially makes cross-contract calls to fetch all that sweat that's been hanging there. And finally, some of the sweat will also have sort of like a use it or lose it logic to it. So if you don't claim your sweat in 30 days, it starts burning it from a first in, first out logic. And that's just to promote a healthy economy, especially given that this is the type of sweat that hasn't been purchased through fiat currency, but earned through either physical activity or participating in something. And that's the beginnings of a retail marketplace. So those were some updates on features that are Trade and Sweat Hero releasing to 100% next week. DeFi jars are live with a cool jar on the way, and on-chain claiming coming in Q4 this year. And Clemens, you must remind me. Oh, the most interesting update, of course, the hackathon at NEARCON. So we're gonna sponsor a prize, and this is a really cool prize, right? So we are trying to incentivize builders and entrepreneurs and designers and such to jump on board with this mission of bringing fintech to the next billion people. And for those of you who know your markets, that means a lot of Web 2 people and very few Web 3 people. And we have, to a large extent, sort of paid the school fees of making onboarding into Web 3 easy for anyone from a kid in school to someone like my mom, who still thinks Bitcoin is a movie or something. So in that light, one of our prizes is going to be channeling 20,000 of our active users to the winning DApp that gets built at the hackathon. There's various ways of doing that, but we're keen to use Near's one-click connect mechanism of simply like a Google OAuth equivalent, so that these users have zero barrier to entry, but can simply get plugged into the winning team's app, which is going to be a fantastic kickstart. And then there's some other prizes as well. So a lot of our team will be there in Lisbon. We'll be there on the ground, mentoring, helping, checking things out, and just enjoying the experience. And I'm going to be there as well. I'm dialing in from South Africa now, but keen to get to Lisbon in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. All right. So NEARCON, we are just 2 weeks away. Jack couldn't have teed it up better than myself. So thinking about the last several months, we've gone from Miro sessions at the very beginning of when we started to strategize what this NEARCON was going to be. Thank you again to all of the ecosystem and community members who participated in those. It feels like a lifetime ago. But from there, we pulled together, built the strategy. I went on maternity leave, came back, and the team really executed the event. There's a lot of great happenings at the event. You're going to get a sneak peek at what's in store for you all. But in 2 weeks, there will be over 2,000 of us in Lisbon, all Web3 oriented, and half of them, the majority of them, are builder backgrounds, which makes NEARCON a true builders conference. And we're almost there. So if you are NGMI to NEARCON, we are going to miss you, but you can catch a whiff of the vibes on YouTube, where we will be live streaming main stage. On-chain tickets will be coming next week. There's a lot that's going to be built on the NCon web apps. Thanks again to Jake, Jutsu, Keepom, all of the Web3 projects who have been a part of building the NCon experience. It's an example of what our ecosystem is, and we think everyone's going to love it. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to let Kiana take it over. She's going to give you an insider's view of the logistics plan, which is truly the experiential plan. Maria will cover the NEARCON Hackathon, Stephanie will cover speakers, and Olga will go ahead and close it strong with a sneak peek at some of our great sponsors. So over to you, Kiana.
Thank you, Yadira. Next slide, please. One more. So jumping into the logistics and production plan for NEARCON this year. As many of you know, we have not one, not two, but 3 venues this year. So it's going to be an amazing experience. There's a 10-minute walk between the venues, but we'll also have buses running every 10 to 15 minutes on a loop in case walking is not an option. So it's going to be really easy to get around. And earning and spending NCon will be found in all 3 venues. So there's really incentive to check out all 3. If you're just a hacker, doesn't mean you have to stay in the hacker venue the whole time. There's going to be great experiences and activations across all 3. So next slide, please. So jumping into our first venue, so NEARCON HQ. Here you can find the layer 1 stage, also known as main stage, layer 2 stage, also known as featured stage. So this is where you'll hear from a lot of our top speakers with great keynotes and insights. We have a boss experience that's going to be kind of like walking through the boss in real time. That's all I'll say. I'll leave it as a surprise. We have an exclusive swag store, an ecosystem showcase, same as last year. SailGP, Proximity, and NDC will all have amazing lounges. Here you can go get to know their teams and get to know what they're really about, and they'll each all have unique activations as well. We have something called the Sandbox, which I'm also leaving as a surprise, but just know that it'll be really fun and lots of unique activations that you may have not seen before. And then of course we'll have a NEARCON Grab and Go, which will be where you can get coffee, tea, snacks, etc. Next slide, please. Great. So our second venue, the Hacker HQ. So here you can find the Block Zero stage, of course, also known as a technical stage or hacker stage. We have the Builders Lounge, where everyone working on the hackathon will be hanging out 24/7 and working. We also have a quiet zone. So if you want to get away from the noise and really work in a noise-proof environment, we have a zone for that. We have our deep tech booths, of course, a validator lounge, and a NEARCON market similar to the Grab and Go, where you can access coffee, tea, snacks, etc. And you can kind of see an aerial view of the floor plan and some very, very small sneak peeks. And I'll leave the rest to you guys seeing it in person. Next slide. And then last but not least, we have our community HQ. This is something completely new, something we haven't done before. We really listened to feedback about the lack of meeting spaces last year for the community, and we wanted to make that a reality this year. So here you can find our community stage. There's going to be a bunch of artists on Near installations all throughout the venue, so you'll be able to really connect to our beloved artists on Near. We have amazing flow programming, so if you're a founder looking to get any advice on finance, legal, or operations, here you can find team members from the NF hosting amazing workshops. We also have meeting areas and chill zones. So all those alcoves against, the right and left sides, that's open to absolutely anyone who has a NEARCON badge, and you can sit in there with your team, have meetings, do anything that you guys would like. And I wanted to give a quick shout out to Refraction DAO, who is producing this entire venue. So they're making it really artistic, really beautiful, and it'll be something that you guys absolutely have to check out as a core piece of the Near experience, or the NEARCON experience. So that's all for production, and I will pass it over to Maria, who's going to cover the hackathon.
Hi, this is Maria from DevDAO DevHub. So I'm here to present the hackathon. We chatted a little bit about this hackathon on our Twitter Spaces yesterday. So if you could please put on my first slide, that would be amazing. Yeah, thank you. So last year we distributed a lot of travel stipends, and this year DevHub is also supporting that. We're supporting hackers from all around the globe to come to Lisbon to hack with us. We already confirmed 50 travel stipends from our international community, including the winners from East Global Hackathons and Web3 Hackfest in Vietnam. And also DevHub is sending more than 10 mentors, 10 is currently confirmed, to support the hackers on site. Next slide, please. So Michael here spoiled the bounties a little bit, but we will have not just Sweat Economy, we will have Calimero, we will have Wallet OS, and we will have some of our regional hubs. They will offer the most exciting and challenging bounties for our hackers in addition to our main track prizes. And this year, we will make sure that we focus on retention. So we keep in mind what Near Horizon has as a focus, and we will focus on this particular projects, especially the product ones, to make sure that the projects that emerge during the hackathon actually stick to the ecosystem and be the next big thing for the Web3. Next slide, please. The first place winner will get 50K to kickstart the project. I think it's a pretty good price, and total bounty pool, as Yadira mentioned already, is 140K. At the moment, we have more than 400 registrations, so we have 2 more big pushes. So Encode X Horizon Hackathon has just ended, and this weekend we will be at East London. Next weekend we will be at East Lisbon. So we will scout and we will find the most prominent and bright teams and hackers, to bring them to NEARCON and to make sure you get to know them and see what can actually they bring to NEAR ecosystem. That's it from me, and passing it all to Olga to have some closing remarks.
First, Stephanie.
So sorry, I forgot about the speakers. That's the main thing.
No worries. Can someone move to the next slide, please? All right, awesome. All right, so as the rest of the team has elucidated, we have an amazing lineup and event happening. We have 3 days of content across 3 stages, 175 speakers plus. We still are onboarding a few folks towards the end, and 100 plus sessions. This year, the focus was really not to only bring in the usual suspects from the NEAR ecosystem, but really try to explore the crypto ecosystem at large. And I think we did a great job doing that, having speakers from CoinDesk to Google to Circle to Nansen to CV Labs is really showing an eclectic lineup, as well as the allure of what NEAR can bring to the table. And I think we did a really good job at bringing that forward. The big key themes this year are finance and policy, Web3, and of course are very near and dear to our heart, builders. And if you guys have more specific questions to the themes and the sessions, feel free to DM me or ping me. I'm more than happy to answer. The schedule is, we're still working on it and getting it live. It was up yesterday and we're having a few issues and we have to fix it. But I think we have, like I said, a really diverse lineup, and we're excited to bring it to Lisbon.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, everyone. Last but not least, I'm excited to share that last week we hit a fantastic milestone. The NEARCON 2023 booth showcase is officially sold out. A heartfelt thank you goes out to all our partners and everyone who played a role in this achievement. Get ready to engage with dynamic and innovative leaders in the field, including Glass, Cosmos AI, BitGo, The Littles, Octopus Network, Proximity, Absolute Labs, Fractal, PlayAmber, Calimero, Vortex Gaming, Google Cloud, Cafe Cartel, Orbit Foundation, Mintbase, and many more, as you can see on the slide. A big thank you again to each and every one of you who contributed to making this a reality. Next slide, please. Do these faces look familiar? Absolutely, they should. They've been tirelessly working to make NEARCON an iconic experience this year. If you spot them around, don't hesitate to say hi. With just 12 days to go until NEARCON 2023, let's keep up this incredible enthusiasm and energy. Get your ticket, finalize your travel plans, and we can't wait to see everyone at NEARCON. Thank you very much.